Hi, welcome to your first session. So, my name's Sam. I'm going to be your therapist for these next few months. I am currently an MFT trainee, so I am under the license of my supervisor. Anything we talk about will be reviewed in our supervision. So, that's just a disclaimer. But moving forward, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your name, and how old you are?
My name's Casey. I'm 26 years old. Um, yeah.
Okay, and can you talk to me about what you do for work and about your living situation?
I was working at a hotel. I worked the front desk there, but I recently just lost my job. So for about the past month and a half, I haven't been employed. Um, I live at home with my two kids. Um, it's just us there.
Okay, and do you guys live in a house or an apartment?
We live in an apartment.
And how old are your kids?
2 and 4.
Okay. So I'm sorry to hear about your recent job situation, but can you talk to me a little bit about what brought you into therapy?
Yeah, well, I've just been really anxious and kind of feeling a little depressed since losing my job, and I just had a lot of stress because of that situation, and then I'm currently going through a divorce also. So that's pretty fresh. A lot of life changes going on right now.
Yeah, sounds like it. So when did the feelings of anxiety and depression begin for you? About how long
Um,
ago?
I would say probably the past 6 months, but things really took a turn about a month and a half ago when I lost my job. But I've been feeling all of it for about 6 months.
Okay, and about how many times a week are you feeling not yourself, so anxious or depressed? Both.
I think maybe I would say every day. Now it's every day.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, the relational changes, job changes. It sounds like you have a lot on your plate. Can you talk to me about what types of things can trigger the feelings of anxiety or any reminders of things, any situations?
Um, I mainly get anxious when I'm trying to apply for jobs because it's been a while. It's been about, like I said, a month and a half since I lost my job. So I've been trying to find a new position, and I haven't been hearing back or been getting rejected. And I have two kids, like I said, so I have to provide for them. So this really makes me anxious knowing that I can't bring in money, and then my divorce is going on, and he wants the kids half the time, but I don't want my kids being away from me. Right now they're with me full time. So that's another thing I get anxious about, knowing that in the future I'm going to be in a situation where I don't have my kids full time.
Sure, that's scary.
Yeah.
Can bring a whole lot of emotions on. How are you coping right now with all of the emotions you're going through?
Um, Not very well, probably, I would say, but I kind of just put all my focus on my kids right now, and that kind of helps me, but yeah. I mean, obviously things aren't going great. That's why I'm here. But yeah.
Well, it sounds like you haven't had much time for yourself in the past couple months, just all the changes.
Yeah, I definitely don't have time for myself.
Have you been to therapy before?
No. Well, I went to therapy with my husband before our divorce. Obviously that didn't work out. Sorry.
It's okay. Lots of feelings coming up.
But no, this is my first time doing one-on-one therapy.
Takes a lot of courage to come and seek help. So
Yeah.
glad you made it.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So with the divorce, the new job, the kids, I mean, it sounds like there's quite a few problems you've got on your plate. Is there any other concerns you want to address while you're here?
It's really just the anxiety and depression I've been dealing with.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely get to that. Before we talk about what our goals are for therapy, I want to learn a little bit about your background and your family.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can, tell me about your parents and if you have any siblings. Are your parents still married, and what does that look like?
My parents are no longer around, but they weren't the best parents growing up, so I didn't have a relationship with them. I have two siblings. I have an older brother and an older sister. Yeah, we're not super close, but it's not a bad relationship.
Do you still talk to them?
I talk to my brother every once in a while. My sister, she lives across the country, so I don't really hear much from her, but nothing bad happened. We just don't talk.
Just kind of disconnected from each other.
Yeah.
And when your parents were around, you said you guys didn't have very close of a relationship. Did you have contact with them?
No, not at all.
No. Must be tough.
Yeah. It was a little tough, but I'm kind of over it now.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And what about their relationship? From what you remember, did they have a healthy relationship? Were there issues between them?
Between
Your
the both of
parents?
them?
Yeah.
No, it was a bad relationship. It was constant fighting and screaming in the household. It was definitely not a healthy marriage, but they stayed together until they both passed away. So, yeah.
Okay, and do you know anything about their medical history? Did they have any medical problems?
Like physical problems or like mental health problems?
Both. That stand out to you? Any medical or mental psychiatric history that stands out?
I don't know if they're ever like diagnosed with anything, but like both of them would just like flip a switch really quickly. They both had a lot of like anger, so none of them have gone to therapy though, so I don't know if there was ever anything done with that, but yeah, they definitely weren't okay.
And do you or any of your siblings struggle with that back and forth of emotional states or anger?
Um, I would say my sister kind of has those traits.
Hmm.
She's the oldest of all of us, so she's kind of been around them the most too.
Okay. So a little bit of patterns between your parents and your sibling.
Yeah.
Okay, and then just a couple other things that I want to touch on. What about your own medical history? Do you currently have any chronic medical conditions that you are dealing with?
Um, Not really. Nothing I've really been dealing with. I've been kind of having some, after the birth of my second child, I was having some back pain. So I kind of deal with that. But other than that, no.
Yeah. Back pain's common after childbirth, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
What about your relationships with friends? Do you have a good support system?
Um, well, I'm new to this state, so I moved here about like 5 years ago, right before the birth of my first child. So I don't really know anybody here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always just like had my husband and then my kids, so I didn't really have time to like make friends. And then at work, like my coworkers are just kind of my coworkers, so I don't really have many people here.
So it's mostly just you and your kids and your soon-to-be ex-husband.
Yeah.
That was your system. And do you have any hobbies or interests? Do you like to do anything? Or did you used to like to do things?
I used to like to go on long runs, and I used to paint too. I was really good at painting, but I don't do those things anymore.
When did you stop doing those things?
Probably after my first child was born, I just didn't have the time to do it anymore. And then when I kind of started having more time, I got pregnant with my second child, and then there was two, so things just got really like overwhelming. I no longer had time for myself.
Mm. Would you be interested in getting back into your hobbies, starting to do things?
Yeah, I would love to be able to do that. I would just have to figure out how to like incorporate my kids in that, or just find some time to do it.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's a new life now, so you kind of gotta make it work with what you have.
Yeah.
And one last question, just to look at your background and where you come from. Do you have any history of any type of delinquent behavior, so acting out, getting in trouble? How were you in your childhood?
Um, Nothing out of the usual. I wasn't like overly crazy. Um, yeah, and also like my parents weren't around, so I kind of just like do anything.
Okay.
But I never got like in trouble with like law enforcement or anything like that. Just like normal teenage stuff.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, the usual.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being honest and answering these questions. The reason we ask about your history of your family and what that looks like is it's just to get a better sense of where you come from and who you are, and if what you're dealing with can be influenced by your past or your family. So I'm glad you are seeking help. It sounds like you have a lot of changes right now in life that can be hard to manage, and you might not know how to deal with all those emotions. So hopefully over the next few months we can look to getting you back into your hobbies and overcoming the anxiety and depression, and just talking about what this new chapter in life looks like for you. So as long as you're ready, we can try to navigate the process as smoothly as possible. You okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
thanks, Casey, for coming in, and I'll see you next week.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.